Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm April Martinez.
And I'm Paul Lopez.
And good morning, Belize. Thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful Tuesday. It has been us coming off the cusps of a long weekend.
I'm not complaining.
I am not complaining either. It was a much needed break.
And I'm sure that none of our viewers are complaining this morning, except for those who may be a bit grouchy about the fact that they have to wake up this morning
and go to work.
But you know what? The tip of the day or the advice of the day is to be grateful that despite the long holiday and getting all that rest, well, one, be grateful for the fact that you got all that rest. Indeed. And two, be grateful for the fact that you have a job to go to, you know, make the money back that you spent.
I saw somebody posted on Facebook. He said, okay, Belize Bank, you need to hurry up for me. I could see the transactions of my weekend.
Yeah, well.
So I know that everybody is yearning for going back to work and so forth. When we left you all last week, we were still in March. Mm-hmm. It is officially April, and it's April in April. I have to give myself the joke because I know everybody to think it.
April in April.
But yeah, on the topic of what's buzzing, you know, we are officially in the spring season, one of the more hotter months of the year here for us in Belize. So we do want to remind folks that this is the time of the year that it's going to get really hot. You're going to see a lot of forest fires out there, Paul. It's going to be very humid, so we just want people to take caution as they go outside, drink your water and so forth. It's just to remind you, April and May, that's one of our higher temperatures, right, for the time of the year. But I also wanted to start off with a light note for our What's Buzzing this morning. And I was kind of just scrolling through social media and so on, trying to figure out. Yesterday, my brother looked at me and he's like, he calls me Becky, right? So he says, Becky, it's April 1st, but I won't pull a prank on you today. And I forgot all about All Fools Day. I forgot all about that kind of stuff, just because, you know, we're older and stuff. But the little kids are people that still would remember that time of the day. But I was thinking about why we do that. What is an April Fool prank? Yeah. Right? Why do we do that? And apparently, according to Nat Geographic, it's an old tradition. It's an ancient tradition that dates back to the 1500s. Wow. In Europe, and it was about changing of calendars, and people that would fall into the new calendar year would be known as April Fools, but other people call it a day to dress up in costumes and fool each other. So I was very shocked to know that it was that old. I find it very funny. People still like to pull pranks. I know that when I was a kid, the month of April was the worst month of the year for me. Yeah. But I also know that people still, to this day, kind of just like the pleasantries of a good joke, if you will.
And I saw a few yesterday. Yeah. I wasn't one who pulled any pranks on anyone.
You sure?
Yeah, I 100%. I was too busy doing other things and being engaged in some fun activities.
You're an adult now,
Yes,
Paul.
I'm an adult now. And so when I realized perhaps midway into the morning that it's April 1st, Fools and April 1st, I was like, okay, when I was younger, I'd probably make a phone call to someone off a landline and not state my name or anything, but then perhaps say something stupid or something funny and then hang up. Those are the type of pranks we pull, serious pranks. But yesterday I was like, you know what? It's April Fools. Okay, all right. moving on. But then I saw a few pranks that are actually funny on social media. I have some relatives that told me last night that they pulled some pranks. One in particular, in fact, you know what? I won't mention them because these pranks seem to be getting more serious and serious.
Out of hand?
And out of hand.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you know, you have to, if you want to really pull off an April Fool's prank, you have to ensure that there's a shock factor.
It has to be funny.
Well, funny,
yeah,
but a shock factor as well.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of moved away, because some of these pranks, they're so believable because of the shock factor.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
hey, hurry up and come. This one got injured.
See, those are the type of pranks and jokes that I don't think are funny, like injuries and stuff like that. Like, I would never find that kind of stuff funny. You know, I remember back in the day when somebody would like maybe put the kick me sign on your back as a joke, or, you know, those kind of stuff. But when you start to mess with, I guess, the morals of human life, like somebody got injured, or the ones where like, oh, I'm pregnant and you're not, and that kind of stuff. I don't think it's fun. I personally don't find
You know, April, different strokes for different folks. And some people find that hilarious, but that's just the way it is.
But on the topics of what's buzzing, Paul, moving more into Belize and some of our accomplishments in the athletic arena.
Yeah.
We have the Belizean track and field athlete Dimitri Myers is the talk of the Caribbean region this morning, as the 2024 Carifta Games were held in March 13th to April 1st, so yesterday was the last day, in St. George's, Grenada. And Myers, who is no stranger, to the game, ran in the under 17 3,000 meter finals.
Yeah, so
wow.
Dimitri Myers, as you said, no stranger, because last year a 14-year-old Myers won the 1,500 and 3,000 meter races in the 2023 Carifta Games that was held in the Bahamas. And we saw that last year he arrived in Belize and he received a hero's welcome. He was given a check with some finances. He was given title to a piece of land. He had a parade and a full works. Well, this year, Dimitri Myers once again put on a stellar display of endurance and strength in the 3,000 meter race finals. I mean, we have some videos showing this young man's performance, and it is beyond me.
I really wonder if he beat his own record from last year.
That's a good question, and we'll have to look into that. But Myers, once again, secured a second consecutive gold medal in the 3,000 meter race at the age of 15.
Wow.
And this is in the under 17 category. So you have guys that are older than him, at least 1 year, 16-year-olds, and he finished the race in 9 minutes and 5 seconds. Beating the second place runner by 16 seconds.
Wow.
So I saw some videos of the race. And so this is Myers early in the race. If you could scroll down a bit, if the video would allow us, to when Myers was almost at the finish line, perhaps 6-7 minutes. See, look at him.
Yeah, wow.
This is Myers.
Ooh, he is way ahead of everybody. That was not a fair race.
you know, April, this young man gives me hopes for Olympics and world competition, gold medals and placements. Hopes that I haven't had in a long time for track and field in Belize.
You know, Paul, one of the things that I will say, that when our Belizeans go out, they perform, and they outperform. It's one of the things that I feel like we need to value more here as Belizeans, that when our people go out, they do their utmost best and they shine. Because another Belizean success story coming out of the same 2024 Carifta Games is that of young Brooklyn Little. And she competed in the female long jump competition and scored a bronze medal with a jump of 5.0 of 5.7 meters. So we have our people out there performing and doing the most.
Yeah. So Brooklyn, again, we couldn't pass by the highlight of the Carifta Games without highlighting young Brooklyn Little, who competed in the female long jump and scored a bronze medal, like you said, with a jump of 5.7 meters. So you guys in the comments, our viewers, send your congratulations through the comments. I'm sure they're watching or their family members are watching, and let them know how proud we are as Belizeans of their work, their dedication, the practice that they put in to compete and put Belize on the map at such a high level.
And it is already a super success story, Paul, because like you said, these are young kids, 15 and so on. And the fact that they're just beginning and this is the standard that they're setting, not just for themselves, but for the country. Can you imagine what 10 years of training will do for these people? It would be insane. So congratulations to you, Dimitri. Congratulations to you, Brooklyn. We expect nothing but the best, you know?
Indeed.
And as we do here every Monday, but since we're starting the week, it's Tuesday, we have our Eye on the News.
And so, Eye on the News, there are several things we want to discuss, and so we're going to jump right into it and go through them. But April, the 94th running of the annual Holy Saturday Cross Country Cycling Classic is in the books.
Okay, first of all, just let me say one thing. That is the fastest cross-country race that I have ever witnessed.
And we'll get to that.
It was so quick. I turned it on to listen to when they were starting from Belize to Tenso, because, you know, we want to catch them when they're passing through Belmopan. And it was insane. It was intense. I thought that I would be able to go out and catch them and everything. No, they passed way too quick.
And we're going to get to that, April, because history has been made on many fronts. After 5 hours, 39 minutes and 25 seconds, Honduran cyclist, and that time is significant.
Yes,
I'll tell you why right now. Honduran cyclist Luis Lopez was the first to cross the finish line. And here he is coming in as he will be celebrating this victory. At 26 years old, Luis Lopez, that's the guy, that's your guy right there, is the first Honduran cyclist in the race's history to win the race.
Wow.
So that's one history being made there. Interestingly, Lopez rode solo. So he
wasn't a part of a team.
No, he did not come to Belize backed by a team of cyclists to support him like many of these cyclists and these cycling teams. So yeah.
You know what I will say about this this racer, which is, I mean, the fact that he came in independently and so forth. But this isn't his first win for the year. He was in a race, I believe, in Costa Rica just recently, where he won that that race as well. And the funny thing about it, Paul, is that we had the race Saturday, right? He got off the plane Friday. He came in, landed, did the race, never ever raced in Belize before. He has never seen our terrain before, and he just came in and sped off like nobody's business.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
And so what we did, we got a bite from Luis Lopez following his win. It's in Espanol.
Está bien.
But I'm sure, está bien, I'm sure that our viewers would appreciate the Spanish tongue right now. I may not understand everything. I admit I didn't understand everything that he said. But we'll play a short bite from Luis Lopez speaking about the race and talking about his win. Here is Luis Lopez for you, the 94th Cross Country Cycling Classic champion. So we're going to bring...
Bueno, estaba intentando hacer una buena carrera para mis competencias más importantes y realmente quería exigirme al máximo para darme confianza para las carreras importantes mías que vienen más adelante, y creo que lo logré. Al final pues se hizo una fuga grande y me esperé, tuve mucha paciencia, me sentía bastante ya agotado, pero miraba que los que estaban adelante igual estaban muy agotados y decidí esperarme hasta el último momento para intentarlo una vez. Ya tenía calambres, pero bueno.
Tell us a bit about. Tell us a.
All right.
Are you asking?
Some of what
Okay,
he said.
go ahead then.
No, but I'll leave it to you.
Leave it. No, he was just saying that, you know, he came here, he wanted to set a standard for himself, he wanted to set a goal for himself, he did that. You know, everybody that raced with him was on the same level. He was tired at some point, but he realized that a lot of the racers were tired at some point, but he managed to set a goal for himself and he did it. And so
Wonderful.
He's very, very proud of himself. And it's the start of many of his races in his career.
And you know, you talked about the time, April.
Yeah.
You talked about the speed of the race. Well, let me tell you something. Lopez also broke a 16-year-old finishing time record of 5 hours, 40 minutes, and 20 seconds.
Wow.
So for the last 16 years, a record stood 5 hours, 40 minutes, and 20 seconds. And so Lewis broke that with his time of 5 hours, 39 minutes, and a few seconds. But he was not the only rider to break the record for this race. According to the unofficial results, at least the top 10 riders shattered that 16-year-old record. So there you go. That speaks to how fast the race was according to your...
It was very, very fast. Like I said, and if you are in the top 10 and you broke this particular time record, that doesn't surprise me, Paul, because Luis Lopez, he had a head start from the very beginning. And if you are trying to race against him and beat him and catch up to him, of course you are going to be on his heels, right? It zoomed past. My brother tried to take a picture of the race and he couldn't. He had to video, otherwise he would have missed the entire thing. I think it was 45 miles per hour that they were going. It was almost like a car race, really, at that kind of speed. It was incredible.
So April, that's a huge accomplishment, and it speaks to the competitiveness of the race and the direction the race is heading. But if there's one thing every Belizean desires when it comes to the annual cross-country cycling classic, what is that, April?
It's that a Belizean should win.
It's to have a Belizean win the race. Now, that didn't happen this year. But the first Belizean to cross the finish line was none other than Carlton Robinson of Alliance United Cycling Team. He finished in 4th place with a time of 5 hours, 39 minutes, and 56 seconds. So again, Carlton, who came in 4th, broke the record. He didn't win the race, but he is being hailed a Belizean hero. And we also heard from Robinson. Here is some words from him following the race.
Sadi, really hard race. Just want to thank God, no. My dad, my sponsors, Best Care Pharmacy, Digi Wallet, Head Shipping, 123 Oil. I was outnumbered.
Outnumbered, but we are totally proud of you. We saw you chase down everything on the road. And at the end, you got outnumbered really by foreigners.
Yeah, I really try keep it together now. I know if let me leave it closer, I'm winning our sprint. I know if I call a little bit closer, I'm winning our sprint, but I guess the guys they figured out that I very fast, so they started attack, and I couldn't go no more.
Despite the position you came in, how does it feel for you today to be the first Belizean to cross the finish line at the 94th Cross-Country Cycling Classic?
It feels amazing, but I really wanted to win, but I have to be happy with this results now. Fourth.
What do you think it came down?
So there you hear a bit sad, emotional Carlton Robinson, but hey, I'm sure Belizeans in the chat watching right now are telling you, Carlton, how proud we are of you. Just go ahead.
Yeah, no, but as much as we will always hope, right, that Belizeans are in the top 3. Don't forget that now that we've set this particular record and this particular standard, particularly for Carlton Robinson himself, it's time now to get back to training and to elevate and to beat that standard now. Right.
Well, just wanted to mention, without overlooking them, that second place went to Guatemalan rider. There you see him on the podium, Alex Hula Hoop. While the while the U.S. rider Abner Maxwell secured the 3rd place position. So this year, the Garland traveled to Honduras, and that's just how this one played
But
out.
that is what happens when we have international races and competitions. As much as, of course, we want the trophy to stay home, we can't always have that. But as we are wrapping up our Eye on the News segment, certainly more of these stories and more you can catch on our newscast tonight at 6 p.m. on Channel 5 or on GBTV on YouTube. That does it for Eye on the News. Moving on with our show for today, we go on into the weather update for this morning. Paul, like I said, it's been scorching hot. I don't know about you this weekend, but I feel like everybody found themselves around a watering hole of some type because it was just, that heat was extreme this weekend. So we're going to see what the folks at the Meteorological Service of Belize have to say. But for the most part, it has been hot. Like I said, this is the month of April, so it is going to be getting hotter. We have the forecaster on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, April.
How are you today?
I'm good, and you?
I'm hoping that you tell me that it's going to be a little bit cooler this morning. Give us the general situation for today.
Okay. It's going to be hot. It's going to be dry.
All right.
We're not seeing any much rain.
Okay, and the 24-hour forecast?
Okay, sunny and hot during the daytime and partly cloudy tonight with little or no rain.
And the marine conditions, let's talk about the winds.
Okay, we'll see winds out of the southeast 10 to 20 knots, and that will produce moderate seas.
And our temperatures, our highs and lows for today?
Okay, along the coast this afternoon, we're going for 8 to 9 Fahrenheit. Up in the mountains, 87, and inland we're going for 102. So we have a heat alert out, especially for those people living inland.
Great, 102 inland. Hi. And the extended forecast for Wednesday and Wednesday night?
Okay, for Wednesday we're seeing another hot day, over 100 again. And during Wednesday night we'll begin to see an increase in showers and thunderstorms, and that's because a weak cold front will be approaching us.
Okay.
Should cross us during the course of Wednesday night and Thursday.
Okay. Any advice for the heat alert?
Okay, so we are telling people that temperatures will be over 97 inland, and we are telling people to stay hydrated and to avoid outdoor activities as much as possible, especially in the afternoon.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that update, Francisca. Please stay hydrated. Please stay safe.
You're welcome.
Bye. All right. There you have it, folks. Please stay indoors. If you don't have to go outside today, don't. It's going to be a hot one.
Not a hot day.
Moving on with our show for this morning, we have 3 conversations lined up for you. We begin our first conversation with the Caribbean Telecommunications Union Ministerial Retreat. We're going to have Honorable Michael Shabat on the show and other representatives to talk about that retreat.
And in our second segment, we will be talking with some representatives about the World Autism Day.
And wrapping up our show this morning, kind of keeping in line with the sports theme from What's Buzzing and Eye on the News, we are going to be talking about powerlifting in Belize, so you don't want to miss that conversation. But before we get into all of that and more, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it's all about the CTU retreat. Don't go away.
One 1,067,700 slices of bacon are eaten by tourists each year, stimulating our local economy. Tourism means business.
We all know about the phasing out of single-use plastics and the enactment of pollution from the plastics regulations. One of the key components in this regulation states that for an item to be considered biodegradable, it must consist of more than 50% of bio-based content. Here, you will find out how the Department of the Environment determines what items meet the criteria and what equipment is being used to guide that process.
Since 2019, the Department of the Environment has been working with CIFAS in doing microplastics. Through this project, CIFAS has donated 2 microscope Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy equipment to strengthen capacities on monitoring and enforcement to reduce marine litter and plastic pollution. The FTIR can be used to identify unknown materials. The Department of the Environment will use the equipment to determine the composition of single-use plastics and biodegradable products to enforce the environmental protection, pollution from plastics regulations.
While we have a long way to go with the implementation of the pollution from plastics regulation, having this equipment is one step closer. For more information on what's being done about biodegradables and ways you can help, visit our website at www.doe.gov.bz.
WestTrack Limited is committed to working hard every day to ensure you get the right products at the most affordable price. We strive to have the greatest selection of quality, affordable, and timely products and services that will enhance your personal or corporate lives. With an extensive line of products, we'll be sure to have what you need. For even faster service, you can contact us on Facebook, WhatsApp, or by email. We look forward to seeing you come through our doors at your nearest WestTrack branch today.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes. Go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Because news is now everywhere, all the time. And so are we.
Whether you're at home, on the road, at work, or at school, if you see news happening or suspect that something might be up, call or text the Channel 5 News Belize tip line at 672-5555. You don't have to give us your name, just give us the tip. That's 672-5555. Call or text us so we can check it out.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's daily obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
We will never give up the fight. Feel the temperature rise, souls intensify. It's time that we realize that we must work together to thrive. The world as we know it, the sky and below it. Could I never have more wonder? Yeah, with life and all you see and the climate's changing. But hope is remaining. And we can't ignore the future. It depends on you and me. Caribbean sea, it's a part of me. We're all in this together, even if we are apart. Moon and number one, Moon and moon the song. We're all in this together, no song, Caribbean. One chance, all that we got. One voice, together we start. Take care, the world where we live. Permite a todos vivir. Tomamos la oportunidad.
And we are back. This is our first conversation for this morning. Quite an interesting one. And we have joining us none other than Minister Michelle Shabat, the Minister of Public Utilities, Logistics, and E-Governance, as well as joining us via Zoom, Mr. Rodney Taylor, who is the Secretary General for the Caribbean Telecommunication Union. And they're here to talk about the CTU's Ministerial retreat that will be held in Belize, and it's coming up very shortly. And so, good morning to both of you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for having us on.
No problem. Thank you for being here, both of you, gentlemen. So, Minister, let's jump right into it.
Sure.
CTU. What is CTU for those who may not be familiar with the term or the Caribbean Telecommunications Union?
Well, we're fortunate this morning that we're joined by the Secretary General of the CTU, which is the Caribbean Telecommunication Union, and it is made up of the 20 members of CARICOM nations, as well as some specialized organizations, non-profit organizations. And this is the body. This body was actually created by the heads of government of CARICOM, and we are celebrating our 35th year on the 28th of April of this year. Wow. And what is the importance of this body? This body plays a very important advocacy role in terms of telecommunication and internet, and how do you use information and communication technologies to develop socially and economically for our people. So it's quite an important organization.
How long has Belize been a member?
Well, you know, I became aware of it since I took over as minister. But Rodney, can you help us with that? How long we've been?
Rodney.
Belize is one of the founding members. One of the founding members
of CTU.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Rodney.
Okay, let's talk about the role of the CTU and its not just investments and so forth in CARICOM, but the outputs and so forth that it has produced in the past 25 years.
Mr. Taylor?
Mr. Taylor?
Sure, absolutely. One of the most recent things that we were able to achieve was the elimination, well, not full elimination, but drastic reduction up to 97% in roaming charges within the CARICOM territory. So if you're moving within the CARICOM single market and economy with your mobile phone, the operators agreed that within that space, there should be no excessive roaming charges. So we are seeking to harmonize, and that gelled with our approach generally to create a more harmonized space within CARICOM in terms of information and communication technology. And of course, policies like that help to drive investment. It helps to promote the freedom of movement for people and capital and so on within the CARICOM single market and economy. We're also promoting harmonization of legislation around data protection, cybersecurity, connectivity, and so on. So the more harmonized we are, the better it is to drive investment from outside of our region.
What I like that roaming initiative that has been taken, because it's very practical. It's useful to our CARICOM members to think that you can take advantage of such a thing within the region.
What I wanted to stress upon is that this is singularly important for us as we're moving into this new advanced technological era, right? In Belize, it's no secret that there's still certain areas that we don't have that access to service and so forth, right? So how are we planning to
So we refer to
this?
it as the last mile, and definitely in Belize we have some of our areas, especially in the south, southern villages that don't have connection. And so along with the CTU and the ITU, which we'll talk about a little bit right now, we look for partners who can help us to reach the last mile, so to speak. You know, for our telecommunication providers in Belize, sometimes it's not profitable enough for them to go down there. So as a government, we have a responsibility to make sure that all of our citizens are connected. We have to make sure nobody is left behind, and so we have to find alternative ways of how we can connect our citizens throughout the country. And this is an important role that the CTU and the ITU plays.
How does the union as a whole help to invest, if any at all, in the countries of their member states or member nations in seeing these initiatives come to life and come to fruition? Is there a capital backing, some sort of technical support offered as a result of being a member of this union?
Definitely technical support, and definitely helping to partner with other organizations that are able to help you to make these connections.
Mr. Taylor, would you be able to give an example of how this union has helped to see these types of initiatives come to fruition in CARICOM member states?
Well, we talked about harmonization. I go back to that because it also speaks to the regulations governing telecommunications within the country. So if there's an obligation, for example, that for the operators to provide connectivity, even in areas where it's not feasible, so this is referred to as universal service, and the minister referred to it. Then there are regulations that would allow for for the setting up of universal service funds, which would then fund, effectively subsidize those areas where it is not feasible to provide connectivity. So the extent to which the telecommunication legislation and regulations allow for that, it can help to drive connectivity. Of course, we also try to create, as I mentioned, a harmonized space, which makes the whole region attractive for pan-Caribbean operators. So those are operators operating in more than one country. And therefore, by attracting that investment, it also helps to incentivize connectivity for those areas where there's no connectivity. And of course, new and emerging technologies like 5G, like low Earth orbiting satellites that provide connectivity without having to run cables to remote areas and so on, thereby providing access to those remote areas.
Can you name some of the areas where these sort of technologies have been successful in the Caribbean?
So there are a number of, there are markets like Trinidad and Tobago. The Telecom Authority of Trinidad and Tobago routinely funds connectivity, provides access in community centers, for example, where you may have an area, remote village where there's no connectivity. There are other markets as well that have allowed new service providers like Starlink, not referring to one specific company, but that is one company that is providing these low Earth orbiting satellite connectivity, and there are a few markets that have already signed on to that. So there are other competitors in that space as well. I can think of Barbados. I think Bahamas has also recently signed on to that.
Thank you.
Awesome. I'd like to stress here that now we're going into having the conversation about the actual retreat, Minister, wanting to know a little bit more about the details, if you will. I know that you're here to talk about it. It's happening next week and so on.
Right.
But why is it important for us as citizens to know that this retreat is happening?
Yeah, so we're having, it is the 50th Executive Council meeting and the Ministerial retreat that we're going to be hosting, and we're going to having it in San Ignacio, primarily at the San Ignacio Hotel. It's going to be from the 11th to the 13th of April. And this is an important retreat for us as Belizeans. It is important for us to host and to be a part of this organization because of the many benefits it brings for us, not only in terms of legislation, as the Secretary General has said, but how do we use information technology to promote our citizens, to promote businesses, to promote education, health, and so on. And so as part of our national digital agenda, which the government promulgated in 2021, this is an important step for us, and it highlights Belize as a major player in this sector. And you know, what it does for us, it brings all of the ministers from the CARICOM region together for us to share for our experiences and to discuss how we can improve and where we're going to go, to strategize where we're going to go. And for us as a country, I think that's an important part for us to play.
As we are, well, you are the minister partly of e-governance.
Yes.
And talking about going completely digital
correct.
when it comes to most of our government offices and
Correct.
how we access some of
Correct.
the public services online.
Yes.
Can you talk to us more about the success stories of the e-governance youth department and the future endeavors of the department?
Right. So the e-governance department is a relatively new one of the government, and the team has been working very hard. One of our big projects is the Vital Statistics Project, which we're hoping to roll out this year. That's the expectation. And that's a critical service that the government provides.
Yeah.
As you know, once we've completed the digitalization of all of the documents, we have over 1 million document entries to digitize. So it's not an easy feat, yeah? But once that is completed, then our citizens, from wherever they are across the country, will be able to access their birth certificates, death certificates, marriage certificates, and so forth.
Yeah.
And so that definitely is one of our major projects we're working on. And we expect to be able to launch that later on this year. We've also been working with the police so that we can provide police records electronically to our citizens. And that is, we're hoping to complete that. I know we're going to complete that this year as well. We have done quite a number of applications and software programs for the different government agencies. For example, one of the ones we've recently launched is that now our leave system, which was once manual, can now be done electronically, and so that helps the public service in a very big way. You know, so we've been doing a lot in that department, and it's certainly one of the departments I'm really proud of. You know, I think it is certainly one that has had a major impact on our citizens.
What do you believe these ministers that will converge upon the San Ignacio Resort can learn about the progress Belize has made in communications and IT, and also what do you believe are the lessons that we here in Belize will be able to glean as well?
Well, you know, certainly I think one of the takeaways that they will have from Belize is the advancement we've made in terms of our digital connect centers, which are very important. Yeah. We've managed to open one in every district across the country. And what those do, they provide an opportunity for our citizens, not only as a computer lab, but really as a center for training, as a center for access to all of the government services. You know, I've been to all the conferences I go, and the Secretary General can tell you, I always speak about our digital connect centers because I think those are important. It is important not only for you to be able to provide the services of the government online, but you also have to have a place where our citizens are able to access it from. And so, you know, I'm very proud of those. We've also managed to design, along with UNICEF, a cyber security book for young people who are using the internet so that they know the dangers and so on. You know, and so I think those are important takeaways. I am interested to learn from my CARICOM brothers and colleagues, you know, if they have adopted 5G, for example, how is it operating in their country? How has it enabled them to improve their economy and communication? Right. I'm interested to hearing about AI if we're looking at legislation for AI, how it will impact our communities. You know, we have a large BPO sector in Belize, and so it concerns us to see how AI will affect them, if at all. I'm also interested to discuss cybersecurity. You know, now everything is going online, everything is digital, you know, and so cybersecurity is so important. How do we secure the information of our citizens? One of the things we want to move into, as you all know, is our national ID. But we have to make sure that when we roll out that program, we can convince our citizens that it is safe to have your biometrics in a cloud or somewhere stored, and nobody's going to access it and use it for all the wrong reasons. So these are very important topics that will be discussed, and I'm really looking forward to this opportunity.
Mr. Taylor, as the region moves more and more into the digital space, what are some of the key considerations of the union? What are some of the priorities in terms of holding the region's hands and guiding them towards digital transformation, especially where cybersecurity is concerned?
Yes, and the minister rightly pointed out cybersecurity is a big concern. So connectivity is very high on the list, so that no one is left behind. It's important as we advance, as we move public services online, that we ensure that there's universal access and that no one is disadvantaged. So good connectivity, robust connectivity, but also secure connectivity. And therefore we are advocating for national cybersecurity strategies and policies, for cybersecurity awareness training, and for capabilities, and also collaboration in terms of cybersecurity response to the establishment of CERT, incident response teams that would help to build more resilient public services. But I also wanted, because you mentioned the retreat we're having there in Belize, to express my appreciation to the Minister for agreeing to host this 50th Executive Council meeting. But more importantly, this will be the first ministerial retreat in the history of the CTU, where we are embarking on a new strategic plan, a new 4-year strategic plan to guide the organization forward. And hence, the ministers are our key stakeholders, and we will be consulting with them on the direction that they want to see the organization go. So we've had strategic plans before, but this is the first ministerial retreat that we'll be having, and we appreciate the very kind hosting arrangements that are being put in place by Belize.
So would you be able, Mr. Taylor, to speak a bit to the agenda that's in place?
Absolutely. The minister spoke to the agenda without saying it was the agenda. We are talking about 5G. And 5G, as you know, is the next level of connectivity, next generation of wireless communication, fast, secure, low latency. We're also talking about artificial intelligence. As you know, that is growing in prominence. It is impacting every sector. And therefore, we have a special presentation on artificial intelligence. We're also talking about smart and renewable energy and how that can help to drive the economic development of the region. So in addition to those topics, we will also be meeting with the Executive Council. That is, we meet with them twice per year, and we'll be presenting the audited financial statements to them for their perusal, and also discussing, again, the strategic plan. I should mention that the Director of the Bureau of Telecoms Development of the International Telecommunications Union will also be making his first trip to the Caribbean since being elected in 2022, and that's Dr. Cosmas Zavazava. And it will be his first visit to the Caribbean, first visit to Belize, and we look forward also to welcoming him and many other distinguished guests from around the region.
And how do we, again, Mr. Taylor, ensure that these retreats and these conversations being held don't just end there, but that these important topics that are being discussed, like 5G and AI and cybersecurity, that there's actually action steps and accountability following these meetings to ensure that what is discussed and what is planned is actually put in place, whether it's short-term, medium-term, or long-term?
Yeah, so the meetings are just an opportunity for us to come together, to collaborate in person, build relationships, network, and of course, learn from world leaders on many of these important topics. But the CTU works 24/7 around the clock to ensure that there's implementation, that there's policies developed to help guide our member states. So beyond the meeting itself, there will be reports, there will be follow-up at the level of the Secretary. That is our job, to ensure that when we meet, that there's action that follows what we've agreed on.
Okay.
I'm curious to know how we are in Belize and across the Caribbean, we balance ourselves between ensuring that us as people do our jobs as not to rely too much on technology and to ensure that we're still able to produce. And I know it sounds a little bit far-fetched, but we're talking here about AI, and even though we're moving into this new era, I can't help but think of the persons that don't even have basic internet. Right. So how are we balancing these two different dynamics?
Right, that's a very important observation and question, really. And as a government, I think this is where we started. It is important for us to make sure that nobody is left behind. And one of the things we do, when I go back to these digital connect centers, one of the things we're doing in those centers is we're training, especially our elderly citizens who may not be so au fait with using technology. And so we recognize there's a gap. We recognize that as a government we need to act so that all of our citizens are empowered. I mean, this is a new era we're embarking on, and not only are we facing it with enthusiasm and with a bit of precaution, because we need to be able to have policies and legislation in place to govern these things, but we also have to make sure that all of our citizens are involved to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
And there tends to be a bit of hesitancy when it comes to digital advancement. First, but even before the hesitancy, there is this I'm not certain, or I'm not sure that I'll be able to navigate that space with the efficiency and effectiveness that I was able to do without or outside of the digital platform. Take, for example, the advancements that were recently introduced to the Belize Postal Services, where you could track your packages, etc. Somebody might say, hey, I want the old school way, write this thing on a paper for me. I'm not too certain about that. Talk a bit about
well,
that.
you know, it takes time, and it takes education. We must be able to not only introduce these things, but also be able to provide the kind of training and capacity building we need for people to be able to adopt to these new methods of doing business and of living, really, because I mean, technology really transcends the entire gambit of our lives, right?
How is the CTU keeping up with the advancements? And I have to ask this because I was just talking to persons back in our day. I don't think I'm that old, but in high school we were still using floppy disks. We were still using floppy disks, right? And now everything is stored in a cloud somewhere. So how are we keeping up with these advancements?
Well, these seminars that the likes of which we're having in Belize, we have these at least once a year for that reason, because the technology moves so quickly that we need to hear from international partners on where the technology is going. So we also often have private sector members presenting as well, global leaders to help guide us in our thinking and to help to keep us abreast of what is happening. Minister pointed out the technology is so pervasive. We want to ensure that down to the man on the street is able to access. You really can't escape the technology per se. Everything now is being driven by mobile communication, the ability to transfer money via your mobile phone, even this video call that I'm doing here, which all of the technology enables us to live more convenient and better lives, hopefully. And so we have to ensure that the technology is used in a constructive way and it helps to advance the social and economic development of our member states.
My final question is the financial part of it, and I'm not talking about the expense of the retreat. As we are moving forward with technology and advancement technology, how can us as citizens afford that advancement? Nowadays, everything is with a smartphone, but only if you could afford it. Nowadays, everything is with internet if you could afford it, right? So how are we keeping up, yes, with the technology, but how are we as citizens able to afford that advancement?
Well, I think that's one of the key roles of the CTU and of government and the ITU. How can we lower the cost of the internet so that our people across the board can have access? That's very important. You know, it's not only having the internet, but if your people can't access it, what use it is. And so I think that is a continuous theme and a continuous challenge for us to continue to explore ways of how we can make it more affordable, you know?
So
absolutely.
Let's back to the retreat. who do we expect to be in attendance at this retreat?
Well, I believe we've had the confirmation of about 9 ministers from across the Caribbean. As our Secretary General said, we have Dr. Cosmos Zavazava from the ITU who's going to be attending, and he's a key figure because he's a part of this international agency from the UN, a specialized agency that really deals with information and communication technology. And so the very his presence here shows you how important this sector is, not only to the UN and across the globe, but also to the Caribbean and to Belize. And so he's definitely one of our major speakers at our retreat and conference.
And what's the level of involvement from Belize?
I will be there, of course, representing the government. We hope to have our Prime Minister at our opening ceremony, and our ministers are invited to attend most of our seminars. Our CEOs are as well. We've also invited private sector, so that we have the PUC who's going to be involved. We have BTL and SMART who are also going to be involved. So this takes the whole community working together. This is not just a government initiative, but the entire community working together for this sector.
Yeah, and it's better when you have these providers that are actually on the ground doing the work, because at the end of the day, they are the big partners, the major partners that you have to work with and collaborate with to ensure that these services get out to as many Belizeans as possible.
Absolutely. You know, the providers play a key role in this sector. They are the ones who have the networks. They are the ones who provide the freeway, so to speak. And so they are a critical part of this conversation, absolutely.
Mr. Taylor, which all countries can we look forward to be hosting next week?
Well, we have 20 member states, and I would love to have all 20 there. As you know, ministers are very busy people, so we may not get all of them, but I'll be calling around this week to ensure we have as full participation as possible. We can anticipate about 15 ministers, but we also have their advisors, so they're formed the executive council members. Those are permanent secretaries and CEOs, chiefs of telecommunications within their respective markets. We expect to welcome them there, as well as a few of the other international guests as mentioned by Minister Shaban.
Wonderful. Gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping in. The CTU Ministerial Retreat is next week, April 11th to the 13th, over at the San Ignacio Hotel. Is there a way that we can access some of the meetings?
Yes, there is going to be a way. We're going to have a session for the press, and you guys are going to be invited. And before I leave, I just want you all to know that we will not allow our visitors to come to Belize without showing them a part of our culture. And so we specifically chose the San Ignacio area, not only because it's my hometown.
Yeah, I mean bias.
But you know, we also want to expose them to some of our Maya culture. And so we are going to be having an afternoon. We're going to be taking them to the Maya ruins and having them taste some of our local food and so on. And so some of a cultural immersion for them as well.
I hope, Mr. Taylor, you enjoy your visit once you are here. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for coming.
Thank you very much for having us.
We are going to, yes, sir. We are going to take a short break, and when we come back, it is World Autism Day. We'll have the representatives in to talk to us more about the festivities and the,
what they have planned.
What they have planned. We'll be right back.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Tech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
At our Belizean, of course I will make sure the place clean, especially the places then where we treasure.
At our Belizean, of course I have a bag for my garbage in my car.
At our Belizean, of course, I believe that all of we should do for we part to protect the environment.
I don't believe and of course I teach my picnic from small enough to throw garbage on the ground.
I don't Belize, of course, on and off the court. We unite as a team to keep Belize clean.
As Belizeans, let's trash the habit and not the beauty.
For 19 years, SMART has been the pulse of our nation. A journey of growth, innovation, resilience, and unity.
From the first call that bridged distances to the data that brought us closer than ever, SMART has been there, weaving threads of connection across our beautiful land.
We have been active in providing innovative solutions to enhance our customers' lifestyles. Over the years, SMART has developed and provided various services to meet customers' needs.
To the dreamers, doers, and the believers, thank you for making SMART a part of your story. For 19 years of trust, loyalty, partnership, and shared experiences.
As we celebrate 19 years of connecting lives and dreams, let's keep the rhythm alive. Together, let's continue to shape our future one connection at a time.
Come and be a part of the SMART family, where we empower you and our country today, tomorrow, and beyond.
SMART, bringing people together.
Make Atlantic Insurance a part of your travel plans when traveling to Chetumal, Cancun, Merida, or anywhere in Mexico. Whether it's for vacation, to conduct business, or just relaxation, you can purchase a minimum of 1 day or any number of days desired up to 1 year. Atlantic Insurance offers certified and reliable insurance policies from well-established Mexican insurance companies. For more information, you can visit any of our offices located countrywide or call 223-2657. To purchase online, visit our website at aicbelize.com. Travel with the best insurance coverage. Travel secure. Travel with peace of mind. Travel with Atlantic Insurance, insuring you from life's unexpected.
Are back, switching gears into more of the different conversation. It's all about World Autism Awareness, and joining us, the founder of Autism Belize, no stranger to the show, Miss Christy Castillo Almeida. Good morning.
Good
Thanks
morning.
for having me today. She hyped.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's Autism Day. Right, for Autism Awareness Day. And I know we say you're no stranger to the show. You've come to talk to us about, Disabilities Week and all of these different awarenesses when it comes to our special kids. Yes. Right? But I wanted to start the conversation about Autism Belize, and I know that you kind of ventured off into this one-woman show a few years ago, and it's just taken a storm at this point.
I'm not keeping up. I will tell you, I'm failing very badly.
No.
We started during COVID.
Yeah.
Parents were locked at home, and it was a captive audience, and I had a bunch of therapists, all who had worked with my son over the years, who had nothing to do. And so we started off really with the core things for our group was to teach about autism. So we started hosting Facebook Lives, and at this time, everybody was just locked in. Like literally the country closed like March 26th, and by April 2nd, we were on, didn't know how to hold the camera. I look back at some of those videos, I was like, oh my God, thank goodness we've gotten a little bit better. But we really just tried to teach about autism, provide some support and some parent training. And That has not changed. We still have the 4 beliefs. We want to teach about autism. We want to promote awareness. We want to show support. We want to show acceptance and provide support.
Yeah.
And everything we have done since 2020 has been about that.
Yeah.
We still hold parent trainings every single month. There is something, a topic, whether it's speech or potty training or aggressive behaviors, trying to get the kids to adjust to the classroom. Whatever it is, we still hold these trainings every single month.
Yeah.
We are still invited into companies to talk about autism, about disability inclusion in the workplace, to teach about it. We really believe that. We try as best as we can to provide support for families. Guidance on where to go and what isn't and is not available. I say try because it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
The amount of calls and things, you know, and it's gotten to the point where the referrals are coming from the doctors. They're like, oh yes, we see something, call Autism Belize, and so they come to me thinking we can provide the diagnosis, and we can't. All we can do is say, okay, here is where you can go, here are the options, here are your costs.
Yeah.
Because if you want a full diagnosis in this country, you're looking at about $1,400. None of it is covered by insurance, private, public, nothing. So for the most families, they can't do that. If you have a child now who is between like 1 and 4, the special education unit in the Ministry of Education can now do a level 2 screener for free. So that's a welcome addition to things, but there's these challenges, and then you get a diagnosis, and then what? Where do you go? You know, they'll tell you, oh, your child needs speech, your child needs occupational therapy, your child needs behavior therapy. And again, we have 1 private practice speech and language pathologist in the country.
Wow.
I mean, God bless her, but she can't handle it. You know, they're very limited services. And so we try and help these parents navigate, try to walk them through it, and then just allow them access to our training library, because we now have over 50 videos of different trainings on different topics that we can share and show. But it is overwhelming. And as I travel the country, you listen to the stories.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's heartbreaking, but sometimes it's amazing. The strength of these parents who have nothing but will come to the training and then send me a video and show me what they have done and what their child is now doing. What was it, last month or February, a parent called me because her son finally finished high school, because he was supposed to graduate the year before, but there were some issues, and he finished, and she called in tears because her son is now done with high school. And it was such a thing, and we had to cry with her to celebrate. It was like, oh my gosh. So we get the amazing stories of these kids and what their success is. But I can also share that the hardships of those parents who are looking at medication and can't find or can't access things. So it's a crazy world I live in.
Just to take a step back, because you've said a mouthful. To take a step back, what for those, let's break it down a bit. What is autism, or how should a parent describe or view autism?
Autism is a neurological disorder. It's a lifelong, so there's no cure for this. Let's just be frank here. But with proper therapies, proper support, if you have that parent and teacher engagement, you can move up on the spectrum or change. So it is a spectrum. The proper code, the popular code is, if you've met 1 child with autism, you've met 1 child. So if you've met my son Mateo, don't assume that every child with autism is like him. He's a level 3. He's nonverbal, he's extremely hyper, he has multiple diagnoses, apraxia, aggression, depression, you know, you name it, he's had those. But then there are the level 1s. And our level 1s are what used to be called Asperger's. About 1/3 of the population of autistics have above average intelligence. They are the Sheldons that you see on TV, the good doctors, the super smart, something, you know, the talent. That does not mean they do not have challenges. They can go to college but still struggle to tie their shoelaces, or driving because of the immense distraction. You know, there are things like that. I have a friend of mine who has a son in California who fixes MRI machines and stuff in hospitals, But for her to let him go live on his own is still a big deal because he'll forget things. How does he manage things? So there's still challenges. And then the level 2 is the more of the traditional autism, which means you probably have an average intelligence. They probably are verbal, but again, more challenges in certain areas. And you look at 3 areas. You're talking about social and communication. So not just the ability to speak, but the ability to sort of read social cues and communications and all of that. You know, they might be able to tell you all about the planets and the moons and everything else, but if you say, how are you? They're going to struggle and just go back to the planets, you know? So there's that sort of communication and that social skills that you have to look at. Yeah. And then the next area is looking at the repetitive behaviors and the restricted interests. So kids that are just fixated on one thing, or adults who just have that one area of things. So for some, maybe they're really, really good with numbers, and you can put them in a cubicle and they can, you know, audit and check on, do all of that stuff, but ask them to get up and speak at a meeting or something, and that's going to be a huge challenge. So because there's that restricted interest, which in some ways can be a good thing, but in some ways can be very challenging. And those restricted interests is not just about which toy they play with or what they're really good at, but it can be about just like eating. Like you have kids with food jags who will only eat a specific type of bread or a specific thing, and for 6 months, that's all it is. So we have a parents group, and we'll have some going, I can't find this, it's not in the country, I don't know what to do because my son won't eat anything else. So those restricted interests can be very limiting, as well as a way to sort of excel in certain things, and then the behaviors.
When we're talking about the awareness, because we've talked about this in Disability Week, there is Awareness Month, you know, but I think that for a lot of the parents that perhaps still think of this particular condition or just way of life is almost stigmatized. So I don't want to accept that this is the fate of my child. I don't want to accept that this is something that they have to live with.
In the US now, there's a movement we call the neurodiversity. The understanding that there's all these different mental illnesses, including autism, but that it isn't truly a disability. It only becomes a disability because of societal restrictions. And with autism, for many of these kids, the more severe is a different angle, and actually there's a population that's trying to get that as a separate diagnosis. But for most, it's about the societal things. If they can get the support, if they can be accommodated in the classroom, if businesses can understand that this is their strength, but this might be the weakness, and work with them, then really it becomes more of an impairment than a disability. The disabilities, the barriers to the basic access that you and I have, right? The access to buildings, to schools, to jobs, to friendship, to living in a society. And when there's those barriers, that's what creates a disability. And so with autism, that becomes a thing. So there's a movement that's proudly autistic because they look at it and say, this is part of who they are, and this is great. And so for some of those, that's why we kind of want to change the world. I don't want to change my child in a lot of ways. It's not about doing that. It's like, okay, he flops, but that's okay if he can do other things, if he can participate in society.
What I appreciate about that approach or that movement is it brings society to understand our role and our responsibility. It asks the question when the conversation of disability comes up. It asks the question, all right, why? We're like, why is it a disability? What are the impediments? What are the things that are in my way or that individual's way? And are those things that we can correct in our society? Are those things that we can address to remove that disability? And then soon enough you realize, all right, so that's not an issue anymore.
Right. And actually, that's why I like the word, I use the word disability. I don't try and pretty up, I don't try and change it, because right now in this country, that's what it is. Because we do have kids that have parents that are having a hard time finding a school that will work with their child, will accept the child. We do have some of these kids graduating or even at sixth form, at junior college, who are still struggling because of social things, not because of the academia, but because of other things, and not getting that support. That makes it a disability because they're having that difficulty to access, to find jobs. And so right now, for us, it is a disability. I'm not going to shy away from that.
Let's talk a bit about some of the practical steps that parents can take to assist their child or to nurture them at a young stage, given the fact that a full diagnosis can run you in thousands of dollars.
Yeah, there was a study done in the US that said having a child with autism or an autistic child, I'll alternate for everyone, can cost a Harvard tuition every single year. And that's the truth. It really is. Not just the therapies, but the different things they need, the damages, because they're, danger's a problem. So for me, my son keeps breaking windows and glass, and I keep having to replace that. I've stopped counting how many iPads I've gone through. And I have to keep buying him because that's how he communicates. That's what he knows. That's how he can tell me, Mommy, I want to eat pizza. But these things happen. So it is a challenge. And I think the biggest thing for us right now is we don't have the access to all of these services. So parents have to be engaged. The autism diagnosis is not the end of the world, but we have to know that we have to put in the time and the energy. It can't be where we're just gonna drop them off at a therapist or we're gonna drop them off at a teacher. We have to work as a team. We need the teachers. We absolutely need the teachers to communicate what's going on and together come up with a plan. It's not, I'm getting in trouble for this, but it's not about what the policy or the rule of the school is or whatever. This is an individual child, and how can we work with them in that classroom? Yeah. And it might be different than the others, but that's okay as long as we're making sure that everybody is learning. And so that means having these regular meetings with a teacher saying, this is a challenge, a parent going, well, have we tried this? And then working together to come up with, this is the plan. And what the teacher does in the classroom, we need to then go home and do it at home. And it's easier said than done. I'm a mom like this. I know. I get home and I'm tired and I'm like, I know I shouldn't just give it to him because he's being bad, but I'm like, take it, Mateo, just leave me alone. Yeah. I'm tired. Yeah. But we need to put in the time. Yeah.
So
we need to put in the energy.
What do you think when you look at the economic, financial disparity between communities? Because what I'm hearing is that autism doesn't discriminate between a lower income family versus a middle income
or ethnicity or
anything of that sort. But there are families and communities that may be more well off to assist financially, while others, is it that
some can hire a paraprofessional, an aide, and have someone in the classroom to help their child sit and do that.
And some mothers,
but, I mean,
quit their jobs.
That's on minimum. That's like $800 a month. Just that. I mean, there's not many people that can afford it. I struggle to pay for my childcare every single month. It's challenging, and not everyone can. So when I go into a village that doesn't have access to a special classroom, and the kid is running around, and there's one teacher in, and she's overwhelmed, the challenge is, she can't. And in some cases, they've arranged for an aunt or a grandma or someone to help, but there's those that don't have that support. And I mean, there's some cases I listen and I have a suggestion. There's one village that I'm watching right now, and I'm like, are there church groups? Are there a women's group? Can they go into the house because the child is more severe and has seizures as well? Could they go in even once a week to help the family and work with the child? Because if they're willing, we'll go out and train the people so that they know what to do. We can give them stuff to do to engage the child when they're there, but we need that support. And it really has to become where it takes a village.
Are you seeing that now we're becoming more of a society that is aware of
We're
autism?
Definitely hit the awareness mode. I really think so. And every time I visit something, I get why are the numbers so high? Or, oh my gosh, we're overwhelmed. schools are referring kids in groups now. It's not just like a one referral. You walk into a school and it's like, here's 7 or 8, and most of them, they're thinking it might be autism. So for some, the awareness, I think, is there. I think parents are on the ball more. I think communities, teachers are more aware. Not that we've got it down packed, but I really have seen from when I came home in 2019 and people would be watching and go, what's wrong with he? To, which is fine because I can answer that question. But to people getting might not understand all the nuances, but at least have an idea of it. So we are there, but now it's about the acceptance. So yes, this child might be on the spectrum, but now it's how do we truly accept them and include them, right? It's not just about allowing them in the classroom and having them play by themselves in a corner, but it's how do we really integrate, really include, truly accept, and that has to be the next step now.
Indeed, because I'm seeing the conversation take place more and more now in society. People, as you said, people going from what is that to kind of having a conversation about autism and the fact that it may be autism to now what can we do? Right? What can we do as a community, as a family? What can we do as a school?
Well, that's a conversation we need to have.
Well,
I'm not sure if we're there yet, but I think that's the next step.
I'm saying in terms of people are beginning to ask, all right, what help can I get? Or where can I begin to seek help?
And I think for us as well, and I'm not sure where Belize is in terms of education-wise and so forth in the classroom, but what happens when they're done? And that's my biggest question as well. Like we were just talking about the young man that finished high school. Does he get a job? Can he get a job?
Well, he has.
Well, I know.
But again, through family. So the mom has sent me pictures and he seems to be happy. But that is the next big gap. So we've got the gap of trying to get the diagnosis and the early intervention services. We are really working on the teacher training. Like that's really coming about, and I have to say for the most part, I really see teachers trying. But then the next thing is that transition. How do we get them to high school? How do we get them to form? And then where do they go? What can we, can we find the jobs? And that's a huge gap. And I have people who are willing to come and help us train. We have someone that has been working at Builders Hardware in Belmopan for years now, and they helped. It was a group, Camp Joy, that came and got him his job. We need to do more of that. I also need more people.
I was going to say, because there are other organizations like Camp Joy that have taken other kids with disabilities and so forth. But are there any other organizations and networks apart from Autism Belize
that's working on this? I mean, Inspiration Center will provide some services because they have a PT, so they help there. But the actual idea of transitioning into the workplace, no, not really. Camp Joy comes down every summer, and they have a continuous presence, but it's really in the summer they bring their people and they will help with that. They work with 13 and older, and they're fabulous. But we absolutely need that sort of thing. We did a trial, Autism Belize helped fund it with the special classroom at Julian Cho last year, where we got some of them into jobs. We took some therapists down to work with them. It was way too short for it to be a good thing. It needs to be more full. I have ideas of exactly how it should work. It's more about getting the bodies and figuring out, especially like when I look at Stella Maris and like last year's graduation, I'm gonna be honest, I had stuff going on, but I didn't want to go. Because I think I would have looked at the class and go, all of these kids are graduating. What percentage of them will have a job afterwards? And that breaks my heart. And again, that's what we're going to be looking at. And that has to be one of the main focuses, because they can do stuff. I mean, my kid, he's got a job, he's working. I mean, it's not a livable wage, but I'm really proud of what he does. And he gets up in the morning and goes and he looks to see if his work clothes is pulled out, so he knows whether it's a work day or not, right? But he's enjoyed, he's made friends, and the awareness that has built, right? Because he works at the buses, and how many bus drivers now are just so much more sensitive because they have spent significant time with Mateo. you know,
it's amazing.
How much data do we have on autism in Belize?
Well, that's one of the biggest challenges. We don't. The only, right now, that special education unit, Ministry of Education, Culture, Science and Technology, amended their BMIS, the Belize Education Management Information System. So it now has a SEND module, a Special Education Needs module, to start collecting the data. The catch with it is, we can only put kids, we can only classify them there if they're clients of the special education unit, which means you need that parent consent.
Yeah.
So we have schools where we know these children where there might be, but we can't classify them there. So that is keeping track of our clients, but not necessarily all the kids who have a diagnosis or might be on spectrum but don't have a diagnosis yet. So that's not there yet.
So how do we change that?
Well, the mixed survey that UNICEF is working on has a disability module. They're going to be using the child functioning module. So that's going to, I mean, that's another 2 years before we start seeing that. Special ed unit just ran a validation study for the child functioning module teachers version. So what we did was 20 questions, and we wanted to see if teachers are accurate reporters. So we had them, we selected 39 schools, and we used infant 2. Again, we needed parent consent, so that was a challenge. But we got the teachers to interview every single child that we got the parent consent from those 39 schools, infant 2. And then the special ed officers called the parents and did the interview. And what we're now doing is matching that data.
Wow.
We've been working with IDB and the Skills for the Future. And so the report comes out next week, but from preliminary data, it looks like the answers are similar. If it shows that it is similar, that is something we can do across the country, and that's something that we're looking at. And through the Skills for the Future grant, that is something that is definitely a possibility, depending on how the report comes out, because that would mean that we could say, by December of every school year, every teacher would have to conduct, it's 20 simple questions. Once they've done the training, it takes no more than 3 minutes to answer, sometimes less, because if you answer no, you skip a couple questions. And that's not, it doesn't diagnose a child, but it talks about functioning. Are they having problems with reading? Is there sight, hearing? Like it has some of these trigger questions. But that will be a way to sort of start to red flag our children and then hopefully refer them. So, and of course we'll have to build that up, because on average, you're saying about 10% of kids will have a special education need.
Wow.
If we do this and we have 10% of kids referred, special education is going to implode.
And then what happens after that?
We have to look at the what next as well. So that is one of the components, but we're also trying to figure out the what next.
So today is World Autism Awareness Day. And in Belize and across the world, we are talking about autism.
So I could take my kid to like ice cream and donuts and everything, he gets free stuff. No, I'm
I am advocating for that as well.
Yes.
But you know, what is it that Autism Belize is doing today, and how can we be more aware?
Not today, all month.
All month.
All month.
Okay.
Because we deserve a month.
We deserve a month.
So the usual things that teach autism. So we are asking companies, organizations, groups to invite us in to come and talk.
Okay.
Some companies we've done repeated. Every year we do Central Bank, every year we do BEL, so we can change the topic. It doesn't have to be autism, it could be disability inclusion, different things. We can take it to different levels. We always do Fuentes pharmacies, and so every year we talk a little bit more. They'll tell us what they want to learn more about, and we go in. These are free. We can do these virtually, we can do these in person. Last year we did 22 companies in the month of April. And I know, again, every year we do like Belize City Council. And what we do is we pick a Friday, and every hour they'll send in people from clerk, traffic, whatever, and then we do it, and then another 12 or 15, and we do this cycle. And this is how we build it. So one is the teach. The next thing is promote awareness. Wear blue on Fridays, or purchase one of our Autism Belize shirts that we're going to use for the walk, and you can wear those on Friday. Put a light out that's blue. The goal for this is to start that conversation. So people be like, well, why is there blue display in your office? Why are you guys wearing blue? Why do you have, a blue light on at your house? And then you can start talking about autism. So we want that awareness. We want that education to continue there. Show acceptance. Come out and walk and run. We are doing our countrywide walk run again. It's the last Saturday of the month, Saturday, April 27th. So you've got all month to buy your shirts and get everything there for it. So that's Saturday, April 27th. All the dates, the times, and the start things in every district, we'll be posting all of those. But get your shirt, come on out. That's how you're going to show your acceptance. Tell people that you are aware, you're willing to do something for autism. For schools, we're having a banner competition. We've already got prizes donated from like Full Tech and everything to see which school has a great banner, and we want to get the kids involved this year as well. And then for companies as well, if you guys want to have a blue display or anything like that, the idea is we want to teach, we want to promote, we want to show that acceptance.
Wonderful. Christy, I want to say thank you so much, and congratulations on the successes. I know there's a lot of work that you have left to do, but congratulations on the successes. And we hope to continue having this conversation for the rest of the month.
And for the rest of the month, I want to ask you guys to please invite Special Olympics on this month. They're partnering with us. They're going to take part in our walk and in all our activities. So companies that invite us in can talk. If you want to talk about Special Olympics, we'll have reps too that are willing to do that. So for the rest of the month, as you're inviting, I'm working on some parents maybe that may be willing to bring your child and hopefully not attempt to break a vase like
Mateo did very well last year. He did very well last year. He broke a vase last year.
No,
he did not. He did very well.
Attempted to, but
he
we were good. There were no breaks.
Very well. He
but
was
I'm working
a wonderful
on some
guest.
parents and their children, so hopefully you guys can invite and we can schedule that. But I would like you all to ask Special Olympics as well, because I'm super excited that they'll be joining our walk runs on the Saturday.
The producer right back there, so she heard you.
All right.
Thank you so much, Christy. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it's all about powerlifting in Belize. Don't go away.
For 19 years, SMART has been the pulse of our nation. A journey of growth, innovation, resilience, and unity.
From the first call that bridged distances to the data that brought us closer than ever, SMART has been there, weaving threads of connection across our beautiful land.
We have been active in providing innovative solutions to enhance our customers' lifestyles. Over the years, SMART has developed and provided various services to meet customers' needs.
To the dreamers, doers, and the believers, thank you for making SMART a part of your story. For 19 years of trust, loyalty, partnership, and shared experiences.
As we celebrate 19 years of connecting lives and dreams, let's keep the rhythm alive. Together, let's continue to shape our future one connection at a time.
Come and be a part of the SMART family, where we empower you and our country today, tomorrow, and beyond.
SMART, bringing people together.
Make Atlantic Insurance a part of your travel plans when traveling to Chetumal, Cancun, Merida, or anywhere in Mexico. Whether it's for vacation, to conduct business, or just relaxation, you can purchase a minimum of 1 day or any number of days desired up to 1 year. Atlantic Insurance offers certified and reliable insurance policies from well-established Mexican insurance companies. For more information, you can visit any of our offices located countrywide or call 223-2657. To purchase online, visit our website at aicbelize.com. Travel with the best insurance coverage. Travel secure. Travel with peace of mind. Travel with Atlantic Insurance, insuring you from life's unexpected.
Upcoming enhancements to My Social Security. The new healthcare provider feature seamlessly connects healthcare providers, insured persons, and employers to facilitate the payment of sickness benefits. Here are the enhancements. Registered healthcare providers will create and submit online medical certificates using their healthcare provider accounts. Insured persons will receive a link to view the medical certificate to complete and submit their sickness benefit claim. And employers will receive an email notification of their employee's sickness claim. Also, the insured person and their employer will receive a copy of the claim decision letter after review. Healthcare providers, insured persons, and employers are encouraged to create a portal account to access and benefit from these new services on My Social Security at ssbportal.org.bz. My Social Security online portal. New healthcare provider feature coming this March. Social Security at your fingertips.
My name is Leomar Langsert and I'm a teacher and I bank with Belize Bank Independence Branch. What I enjoy is to see if the features that the app offers. I have a sense of not having to worry or be concerned about somebody finding my password and username to sign in the application because of the use of the one-time password. And another feature that I love, that I use the most, is how the app synchronizes with my fingerprint on my device. I enjoy the rapid and easy, seamless process to apply for loans through the Belize Bank, and I don't have to be having too much back and forth to visit or take time to visit the bank. They also start to offer the online applications through the app for loan applications, which I believe is very neat. I would definitely recommend Belize Bank to other teachers because one of all the features and advantages that the app offer, with these online that Belize Bank offered, is basically everything that you can do in the palm of your hand. So I would definitely recommend the bank to other teachers.
Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes, go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because news is now everywhere, all the time, and so are we.
Here to talk to us about their national competition that they just had a couple weeks ago, and overall how we can become powerlifters ourselves. So joining us in studio to my right here, we have Leo Matura, who is a powerlifter. Beside him, we have Miss Sofia Vasquez, and beside her, we have Miss Shakira Sai. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about powerlifting in Belize. This is I don't want to say it's a new sport. We've kind of been talking about this for some time, but in terms of bringing people into the sport and so forth, how do we make it more inviting, if that's the proper term to use?
Leo?
Spotlight. Powerlifting, competitive powerlifting, I find that it's very inclusive of all ages, gender, even disabilities. They have recently had the Special Olympics being invited into the North American Powerlifting Federation regionals. And so there's no barrier in who can enter powerlifting or not. You just find a gym. There's a lot of resources when it comes to the actual gym programming. And if you really want to, you participate in the nationals. And we recently had the nationals 2 weeks ago now.
Yes.
And we had the Belize Powerlifting Association had hosted it at the SJC gym for 2 days. Day one was females and day two were males. Shakira could speak more of how that nationals went. And
yeah. Okay, Shakira, tell us.
Yeah, so day one was actually for the females. This year is actually, it was the fourth year. that the Belize Powerlifting Association held its national championships. Leo and I actually have been fortunate enough that we, have been competing since 2021 when they had their first competition. But every year the sport grows. The second year we actually had sub-juniors. We had a team from Kinetic we had 3 sub-juniors. One was my daughter, the other one was Leah's sister, another one was Kaylee, they were all friends. The third year we had 7 people from the gym. So we had 2 master lifters, myself and Audrey, and then we had actually 4 girls. Again, they're teenagers, right? So that also goes to show the diversity of which this sport lends itself to. And last year we also had another team, and this year as well. We just love the sport, just the feeling of being strong, but it's much more than that what the sport gives you, really. The process of training, having to endure. It's a little monotonous, but what happens is that you are able to train your body in such a way where you gradually gain strength. And I think for women that is extremely empowering. And as you get older too, I can speak to the master class as well, because your body starts to change, your posture, you don't do the things that you used to do before, you don't move with the same agility and all of that. And engaging in lifting weights, particularly for women, you want to beat around that stigma that, a woman shouldn't lift, or you lift too heavy, you're going to look bulky. That hasn't happened to me yet, right? And so I think that it is really a sport that more people should consider. You don't have to train to be competitively to actually, go on the platform and compete, but you can train for your own health benefits. This year we have Veronica, who is one of the newest powerlifters, right? This is her first year competing, and she can give you her whole story in terms of what has inspired her to do that, because all powerlifters also have a little story behind that. And Veronica has a good one.
I wanted to get to her to tell us a bit about how you started.
Well, at first it seemed unattainable because of my health condition, but after I got inspired by my little cousin, he's been competing for I think 3 years now, and it's very impressive to see him compete. And with little time of training, when he first started, he was so small, and I myself, I was so small.
You're still so small.
I gained a lot of weight though, but seeing him improve not only his strength but also his physique inspired me to do the same. So then he was my inspiration at first, but it still was a challenge since I lost my left lung 3 years ago. I was diagnosed with tuberculosis, and in the process it was difficult for me to recover, but I managed to do so, and with training and also the help of my doctor and everything, we decided to take things slow, small weights and everything, and then eventually I increased my strength, and I decided to compete last year. And sorry, but after I started my training, it was like normal training, just at the gym. And then eventually I said, you know what? I think I can. So then I messaged my little cousin and I told him, I'm gonna compete. And he was like, yes. Like, you're gonna have so much fun. And I did. I gained a lot of experience on the day of the meet. I made a lot of new friendships with lovely people. It was so fun. It was an incredible experience, and you only gain that on that platform.
What was your weight?
Yes. I was well, I competed in the 52 category, and I was lifting above my body weight on that day.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
How inspirational as well.
Yeah, because I just was telling them I would never. That? No.
So how intimidated were you at first when you got introduced?
Well, at first I did feel a little discouraged because I was aiming for a higher total, but sometimes I tend to forget about my condition. So I was hard on myself, but eventually I said, you know what? It's just not fun. You're gonna gain a lot of experience, and I'm so glad I competed. I don't regret it, and I do hope to see new people next year because it's so much fun. It's a reminder of why I fell in love with this sport, and it's only the commencement of my journey. So, yeah.
Leo, when you hear stories like hers, what does it do for you and your passion for the sport?
Well, I'll tell you for sure, this year when we do go to the North American Powerlifting Regionals, stories like that, when I go do my last lifts, I keep it in the back of my head because I feel like I'm bringing them up as well when I go there and helping the inspiration.
Yeah.
So it's powerful. Just hearing that, it's an extra motivation. When I go train this evening, I'll think about that.
Yeah.
It keeps me going.
So then how do you convince the naysayers, people like me, because I'm going to use myself as an example of what can I get from this? The fact that you have this condition and you're still able to compete and come up on top as well. How do you give advice?
Yes, it did help a lot with my health. I had a weak immune system before I started, and when I started training, I noticed that I wasn't getting sick that often. And then apart from that, you do feel empowered because for a while you feel dependent of others with my condition, and being able to now gain so much strength. And I didn't have much training, but I gained so much strength just being at the gym working out that it made me feel independent for once. Like that felt very empowering. I loved it. And for those who have been, because I know a lot of people don't want to compete because of their total, they feel it's low. And I felt the same. I was so embarrassed, but like they say, comparison is a thief of joy. Like on that day, I didn't compare myself. And I just had fun. Like the moment that I stopped comparing myself, I realized it's actually really fun. Okay. And I was so proud of my total. Even though I did do a little less than I did at the gym, I was so proud of myself.
Of course.
Like, I did all of that.
So now we could ask you to put the 5-gallon pan de cooler.
My family, they have me like carrying stuff. They're like, hey, you can deadlift. Like, you can carry that now.
But it's a change in perspective.
Yes.
Not only your personal perspective, but the perspective of those around you who may initially view you, and just for the sake of not having a different term, but as weak and fragile initially, to now saying you're strong, and you telling yourself, I'm strong and I could actually do this. That's incredible. Leo, let's talk a bit more about your journey as well. I think you are an example in terms of one of the athletes in this sport that has discipline, and you've been consistent over the years in developing your skills and developing your strength.
Well, when I first started the gym in general, which was 7 years ago, which happens to be their gym, Kinetic. I've been with them for my whole journey to this point. I honestly started because, I had a lot of weight issues, and then I was going through some personal issues, and then had a bit of anxiety that I wasn't there mentally or where I wanted to be as a person. So over the years, I found that it was something that I had no problem keeping consistency with. And then when we did find the sport of powerlifting, I found that, wow, this is something that I can wake up and do every day. Mm-hmm. And since then, it has been something 4 times a week, every day. We prepare. And I can tell you, when I first started, my let's say my my squat was like 300 pounds. My bench press was like
nothing.
200.
300 pounds. Yeah.
And then my deadlift was like around 420, 450. That's 4 years ago. Now where I'm at now, it's a stark difference. It's like, me seeing that is like, man, it's a testament to myself. I can achieve what I want. I have goals. Not just with powerlifting, but in life. If I can do it with this, I can do it with anything I do outside.
I was going to ask how it helped you to face the challenges that life throws at you now.
Well, thankfully for me, I think the trainer that I have, we're very how may I say? We're like a checklist. We have checklists of how we want to attain things. So usually before the year starts, we'd be like, all right, what are we doing this year? We're going to compete internationally, or do we have a different objective that we want to accomplish this year? And we talk about it, and from there, we checklist. All right, we need to do this first, this, and that. With that kind of training and that kind of mentality, when it comes to my life, I operate in the same way. So it's like, all right, this is what I want to accomplish for myself this year. This is how we'll do it. What's the time period? And checklist.
Shakira, my final question is, from you started in the association, how have you seen its development and growth to get persons involved in powerlifting?
Well, I'm not an executive of the association, but I am an athlete, right? And so I believe that the association provides a platform for us as athletes to be able to, so we train, we enjoy the sport, and it allows us that platform where, as you heard Veronica, witness, the feeling you get of accomplishment. And also what you may have done in the gym training, you may not necessarily have those same numbers when you hit the platform, because training and competition are really different, right? I mean, the environment is different and all of that, but the platform that competition gives you is one. For me, I use it to push myself. Yeah. These are the goals that I set, and this is what I have to do, and so that helps me to do that. Without the competition, I think it would be a little bit, difficult, and you have a little bit of room with yourself, and you say, oh, well, I don't have a competition, so I don't have to do this. But if you know that you have committed to that, then you will say, well, you know what, I have to do this. I have to carve out the time for this and that, and that's what, for me, competition does, right? Whether it's locally or internationally. Yeah. And I think the association plays a part in, growing that with the athletes who commit to their training and to the sport.
Now, Ms. Sai, just as we wrap up, I don't want to gloss over your story as well. You're a mom, right?
I am, yes.
You said your daughter...
My daughter competes
as well.
She competed locally and internationally.
So last year we had... you compete yourself as well. Tell us a bit, just briefly, about your journey, and for those women out there that, like you said earlier, might say, oh, that's not for me, that's too much. No.
I would say don't put any limitations or restrictions on yourself. You never know what you can do until you actually give it a try. And this is a sport that, like with most sports, will give you something back. It helps you to have a little bit of discipline and routine in your life, right? Your children are watching you as well, right? And so you're setting an example for them as well, just by the process of doing that. With us, I think, so my husband is also our trainer and coach, right? And so I got into it first. My husband is the one who is the brains behind, okay, this is going to be your program, this is what we're going to do, and that kind of thing. And he charts it for us, right? And so we execute. So the first year, my daughter, she wasn't really interested. I mean, she was only 13 at the time, right? And then the second year, Leo's sister came around, and they're friends, and so they said, you know what, let's try it. And they did it locally, and then they were able to qualify to compete internationally, right? And so, they're in this environment that helps them to do that. Yes, it's a little bit challenging to say, well, a group of 13-year-olds, how do I get them to be disciplined and all of that, right? We just need to work with them, right? They take their time to do this, and yes, it's a little aggravating because they're not focused and all of that, but we have to be a little bit patient as well, right? So we rope that in. They get it, right, over a period of time, and they do it.
So you have a home filled with powerlifters. So there's nothing light in your home. You open the door, you have to
say we have to wait to make somebody put the $5 pan.
Well, sometimes she says, you know what, I'm a little bit tired. Dad, can you do this?
Groceries. Nobody go back for seconds. Everybody take out groceries.
Exactly. That yes, I will admit to that. But yes, and so I think, we all benefit from that. Their friends start to see this and that kind of thing, and so and it grows little by little.
Guys, thank you all so much for stopping by. Powerlifting in Belize is a growing sport. I know that Paul normally covers the competition, so I know he knows what's happening around in this sport, but we hope to see it grow. And Sophia, congratulations on your win as well. We are going to take our final break, and when we come back, we are wrapping things up. Don't go away.
For 19 years, SMART has been the pulse of our nation. A journey of growth, innovation, resilience, and unity.
From the first call that bridged distances to the data that brought us closer than ever, SMART has been there, weaving threads of connection across our beautiful land.
We have been active in providing innovative solutions to enhance our customers' lifestyles. Over the years, SMART has developed and provided various services to meet customers' needs.
To the dreamers, doers, and the believers, thank you for making SMART a part of your story. For 19 years of trust, loyalty, partnership, and shared experiences.
As we celebrate 19 years of connecting lives and dreams, let's keep the rhythm alive. Together, let's continue to shape our future one connection at a time.
Come and be a part of the SMART family, where we empower you and our country today, tomorrow, and beyond.
SMART, bringing people together.
Remember, not all light bulbs are created equal. Our lighting department offers a wide assortment of light fixtures and accessories to suit your style. So stop in today and get the right illumination for your homecation. And don't forget your B-Box when you make a purchase. Benny's, quality and savings.
Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes, go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because news is now everywhere, all the time, and so are we.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We are wrapping up our Tuesday morning show. We just want to say a big thank you to all of our guests for stopping by, having these conversations with us, and of course, thank you, our viewers, for sticking by to the very end, because without you, this would not be possible. Paul, it is April the 2nd, and if it is your birthday today, we want to wish you a happy, happy birthday from all of us here at Open Your Eyes. And if you have a birthday shout out or just a question or a comment, drop us a line right here at oye@channel5belize.com. You can also catch us, our live stream, every single day on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ, and check out all of our highlights on Instagram at oye_belize. And of course, do us a favor and join us again tomorrow when you open your eyes
and start your morning right.
Be sure to keep your eyes, your minds,
and your hearts open.
We'll see you soon, Belize. There is a heat alert out there today, Please drink water, please stay safe, keep into the shadows. Don't go outside unless you absolutely have to. In the mainland, it's going to be 102 degrees. Please stay hydrated and be safe. We'll see you soon, Belize. Bye.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.